So this is a black walnut with a husk, and here's one without. So when the tree first drops, it's not this outer husk here, the fruit, the flesh is actually green. So this is quite old, it's oxidized. Most of these nuts have had the flesh removed, and I just have them sitting in some water, doing a little bit of an experiment. This is filled with black walnuts, some with husks, some without, and just threw in enough water to cover it. I'm gonna pull off the husk on anything that still has the husk. I will then pull out the nuts themselves, and this kind of pulpy, watery mess, there's a chemical in the husk of black walnuts that traditionally has been used for ink and for dyes, and so out of curiosity I'm going to see if I can extract that. You can see here that this is already quite dark. I'm told that if you boil this, I'm going to obviously remove the nuts before I boil it, that you're going to get more of that oxidation and that darker color, and then if you reduce it, it becomes thick enough that you can then turn it and use it for ink. Okay, so I pulled out all of the walnuts themselves, and this is just the liquid and some of the pulp from the husks, and you can see here just how dark that is. And so I think the idea is to further reduce this, so to actually boil it down by about half, and then strain out all of the debris, all the husks, and that's your ink, that's your dye. Work in progress, I guess. This is there's some pulp in here. Seeds have been removed, and I'm just bringing this to a boil. Directions sort of say anywhere from an hour to 8 hours. So one set of directions that said for a day, but I think I'm just going to keep going until it reduces by about half, because that seems to be pretty consistent across the recipes. But you can see here, you know, really what we're going to get, I think, is a really dark brown, and probably the more we condense it down, the darker that brown will be. So here's the black walnut reduction after boiling it down and letting it sit overnight. It is pretty thick and pretty black. Though I still think it's going to kind of leave this sort of brownish, dark brown colored ink. I put it into a bucket and have this nylon straining bag here. I'm going to put on some gloves and squeeze this out to get all of the pulpy mass out. So there's the result of straining out the mash. It's pretty liquidy now. I imagine there's some sediment in there, so I'm going to see if I can find a nice glass mason jar that I can put a coffee filter on top, and I will run it through there. But we'll throw it in here and we'll see if we can just clean out any small bits of sediment. This might take a little bit, depending on how fast it goes through. I think you can use it as is. If you want to make it thicker, adding gum arabic will do that. Because it is an organic product, it will rot, so it can mold. So I'm told to keep it in the fridge when you're not using it. It'll have a pretty long shelf life. Or you could add some essential oils. I saw one source online say wintergreen would help preserve it. Another source said to throw in some rubbing alcohol. They went as high as 20% rubbing alcohol, which is a ton. So I haven't decided what we'll do here. I might just get this to some artist friends and let them decide if they want to keep it in the fridge or add rubbing alcohol or mix a little gum arabic in there to preserve it a little bit longer